What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another video. I'm your host, TheDividendAristocrat, and today I'm going to be talking about my new addition to my portfolio. As a reminder, this is not financial advice, and I'm just merely sharing my opinions on this channel. Right now, I'm sitting at a total invested value of around $28,447. My total return is at right around 25.4% or $7,225 of unrealized gains. That gives me a portfolio value of right around $35,673, which is real nice.
Nice.
2023 was a great year for a lot of us, and I look forward to seeing how 2024 treats us. I've earned a total of $758 of dividends, and my yearly projected income going forward is right around $674. So without further ado, my new investment is none other than United Health Group, ticker symbol UNH. I purchased my first two shares of United Health Group on the 18th of January when it first dipped down to around $500. I followed that up a week later with another purchase of a share at $488 and finished my purchases off for the time being on that same day when it had dropped down to $480. I just couldn't resist myself, had to grab at least one more. Hopping back into my Google spreadsheet, I wanted to show you guys the purchases I made. So I started on the 18th and I worked my way up on the 25th. I bought two shares on the 18th, like I said, at a total of $500 per share, which just gave me a total order of $1,000. And I purchased two more shares, one at $488 and another at $480. This is how I keep track of all my purchases, and I use these values to populate other cells within the spreadsheet. So moving into my holdings tab, we can see this new ticker symbol UNH, which was not here before. The average price I paid per share right now is $492, and there's a current price of $510. So if we slide over to the right a little bit, we can see I'm actually up a little over 3.5%. This position will be paying me $31.60 going forward. Has a total yield right now of around 1.55%. and amounts to 5.7% of my total portfolio. So moving into the My Pie section of my portfolio briefly, we can see here my distributions of my different holdings and then my target distributions for groups of holdings, which I call pies. So if we expand this, we can see that my Divine Dividend section has a new holding in it, United Health Group. I am pretty particular about what kind of stocks I want to put in my Divine Dividends holding section compared to what I use in my speculative section. We can go over those requirements in a second. Now, as you can see, I have some cells highlighted here in red and in yellow. Yellow are two that I'm actually thinking maybe trimming one of the positions, so keeping either Lowe's or Home Depot. And for red, I'm considering just liquidating the entire position. These are pretty small positions of mine. I have one share of 3M, one share of Coke, and one share of Union Pacific. And I think it's just a little bit too much diversification for what I need. Also, some of these investments don't exactly meet my investment criteria, so I potentially might trim them in the upcoming future. So for the key to success section of my portfolio, I have my ETFs, VOO and SCHD. These are both the foundation of my portfolio, and I rely on them heavily to give me that consistent performance that I can expect. As you can see right here, my target allocation for this section is 50%, and my actual allocation, what I'm sitting at right now, is actually 48.8%, which is great. Same can be said for the Divine Dividends. I hold about 40% of those, and then 10% for more speculative stocks. For the Divine Dividend section, I want consistent dividend payers that will continue to grow their dividend for years to come. I also want companies that can provide me share price appreciation in the long run. And for my speculative section, what I consider that is anything that doesn't pay a consistent growing dividend, any company whose current or future earnings are not as consistent, and companies which don't pay a dividend at all. For example, Google, Amazon, Tesla, and PayPal. Although Google is a terrific company, which I love holding, it doesn't pay me a dividend, so I do put it in this section of my portfolio. So the reason I keep track of all this is so that I can diversify my portfolio based on my risk tolerance. This way, I don't have to worry about being overweighted in positions that I'm not comfortable in. Now, United Health is a great addition to my Divine Dividend section, and I think in the long run, this is going to be an amazing play for my portfolio. So United Healthcare is the largest healthcare company in the nation by revenue. It provides medical benefits to approximately 53 million members globally, and it operates in over 130 countries. So one thing I want to do real quick is hop into Seeking Alpha and look at some of United Health Group's financial stats. One thing that's important to me when I invest in new companies is to make sure that their financials make sense. I'm looking for certain metrics such as revenues, free cash flow, and earnings, and I want to make sure that those are increasing over time. So if we take a look at their earnings, we can see that for 2023, they have posted $371 billion worth of total revenues. This represents a 14.6% increase compared to last year's revenues. And if we look at the trend, we can see that it's increasing nicely over time, and looking forward to seeing what they post for 2024. One thing that we can also take a look at is their total net incomes over time. So in 2019, they posted $13 billion in total net income, but if we fast forward to 2023, we can see it's sitting at $22 billion, and that's a pretty sharp trajectory for this company. The earnings per share for United Health have also kept up nicely, starting over at 14.55 cents for 2019. And as we move along, we can see how quickly it's growing all the way up to 23.86 in our last earnings call, which was great for 2023. All in all, this company is a compounding machine with a very stable revenue source. Healthcare is a pretty recession-resistant industry, which is something that I look forward to because if we do have a recession in 2024 or any time in the future, I definitely think this might be a nice thing for me to be invested in and diversify my portfolio. And now another metric that's very important to me is the free cash flow per share. It's one of the most important things that I look at before I invest into a company. United Healthcare has had some amazing free cash flow growth. Starting at 2019, they had $17.24 of free cash flow per share. Now, aside from 2021, where you can see they had a bit of a pullback from 2020, they've been growing very rapidly since, all the way up to $27.38 for the year of 2023. Pulling up in this graph real quick, we can see that increase had a bit of a pullback, but now it's continued to increase quickly from here. And we'll see how they perform this year, but I think it'll be pretty solid. Now, if healthcare costs do go up for United Health, which they do expect for the year of 2024, this could eat into their bottom line. But regardless, I think they'll be pretty comfortable this year and will post some nice growth. Now, taking a look at their dividend stats real quick, we can see here their dividend summary is phenomenal. Their current yield is 1.48%, which you guys know I do like it on the lower side, so this is very comfortable for me and my time horizon. Their current payout ratio is sitting under 30%, which is very comfortable, and I think they'll have some nice room for growth because of this. Their 5-year growth rate is sitting at 16.14%, which is phenomenal, and although it has been slowing down in the past couple of years, it has still been double-digit growth every single time. They've been growing their dividend for the past 14 years, and I'm certain that they'll keep growing it for the next 25 and even 50 years if they keep executing like they have. Now, if we look at their dividend growth rate history, we can see that their 3-year growth rate is sitting really strong at 14.71%, their 5-year even better at 16.14%, and their 10-year growth rate is absolutely absurd, sitting at 21.35%. Because of that crazy 10-year growth rate that we have seen, anybody who invested in this company 10 years ago would have had an outstanding yield on cost at 10.45%. Now, I just want to show you guys real quick. I broke it down here for their past 5 years of dividends. So in 2020, they did increase their dividend by 15.74% from 2019. Then from 2021 to 2020, they increased it by 16%. 2022, 13.79%. And in 2023, they had increased it by almost 14%, which is amazing. I do think these rates are going to slow down a little bit in the near future, but not by much, and I think they're going to still stay double-digit growth rates. And then for the free cash flow per share, we can see that it increased by 23% from 2020 compared to 2019. But then 2021, it did have a small pullback of 0.52%, which is not great, but they followed it nicely in 2022 by posting 18.44% free cash flow increase, which is amazing. And this past year in 2023, they still managed to increase it by almost double digits, just missing that by a little bit with 9.61% increase of total free cash flow per share, which is really good.
Oh, God, it's so good.
And taking a look at their dividend safety, it is nicely covered by their free cash flow per share, so I'm not too concerned in the near future. Going forward, it is expected that they will be growing their revenues by right under 10% per year, which is not too bad, and I'm pretty comfortable with that, seeing how they've done so far. Now, in recent years, United Health has been performing pretty well compared to the broader S&P 500. For the past 1 year, it actually has lagged behind the S&P 500 by a decent margin. But if we take a look at that 3-year trajectory, we can see that it smashes the return of the S&P 500, sitting at 57.04% compared to that of the S&P 500 of 35.67%. So looking at its PE ratio over time and how it's performed, it usually does trade at a bit of a premium, trading right around 30 PE ratio during COVID times. But going back a little further than that, we can see that the last time it was trading around that valuation, it was during 2021, so almost 2 years ago, and now that it hasn't traded that low. Personally, I don't think it is the best bargain find out there, but with the recent pullback in price, I had to jump on this opportunity. I think a company like this deserves to trade at a higher valuation because of its consistent performance, its stable revenue, and its consistent value return to its shareholders. So I just want to recap real quick the general guidelines that I look for when I'm investing in a new company for my divine dividends pie for my portfolio. One thing that's really important for me to see is strong earnings or free cash flow growth. I want to see a long history of consistently paying out dividends. Not only that, but I do want to see consistent dividend growth, and ideally I'd want to see double-digit dividend growth. And I want to make sure that the company has the ability to continue growing those dividends. And I think we can agree that United Health definitely has strong earnings and free cash flow growth. They have a terrific dividend history. They like to pay back their shareholders and reward them with dividends. Not only that, but they do grow their dividend every single year for the past 14 years and much more rapidly than most other companies with a 10-year CAGR of almost 22%. I think going forward, they have the ability to continue growing these dividends. They have a lot of free cash flow they can provide to cover those dividends. And with their lower payout ratio, they can comfortably continue to do so without having to worry too much. Not only that, but I think they do have a strong market position, a stable revenue stream, and potential for future growth through both their innovation and diversification. Now, I'm sure United Health has their risks in the short term, but I think long term, they're going to make a solid investment. I really hope you guys enjoyed the video of me showing you guys some insight as to why I decided to buy into United Health Group and how much I did invest in total. I want to make sure that I stay transparent on this channel. I want to keep you guys up to date on any of my new buys and sells on my portfolio. If any of you guys did also buy into the dip for United Health Group, definitely let me know in the comments down below. Let me know your reasoning and how you're feeling about the company itself. If you guys are steering clear of this company in the meantime and want to let me know your reasoning as to why, definitely let me know in the comments down below. Also, if there's any other companies you guys have been buying in the meantime, scooping up on a discount, or just in general buying even though the prices are pretty high, let me know for sure. I'm curious as to what you guys are investing in. Thanks again for tuning into the video and sticking around till the end. I really do appreciate it. If you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do so. It does help me out a lot. And I'll see you in the next one.